Hello and happy Valentine's, everyone. Yes, we're a few days early, but who cares? In this week's episode, we get all buttered up and in the mood for love. Let's get down and dirty and make some music with our mouths in the form of words. We discuss the movies that taught us about life and love and whether they set up rather unrealistic expectations. We look at favourite movie couples and lessons in love. Joe O'Hagan, will you be my Valentine's?
Ryan O'Neill. Oh my God, it's so romantic
You
and
didn't
unexpected.
answer the question.
So
This is still part
sure,
of my intro.
yeah. As long as Zara can be there as well.
Zara Jackson,
You
will you also
guys.
be my Valentine's?
I will indeed, although
Awesome.
I kind of want to leave you and Joe to it. I just want to watch this love unfold.
Look, Zara, you finish up and then you just leave me and Ryan to it, okay?
That was a very sexually charged introduction.
Well, rightly so.
Rightly so, because it is Valentine's, or it is coming up to
Mhm.
Valentine's. And so we're having a nice, relaxed, chilled discussion about love, movies that taught us concepts of love, favorite movies, favorite movie couples, and anything else in between. So, how are you guys? All good?
Really good.
Are you feeling the mood? Are you in the mood for love?
Feeling the love,
Yeah.
honestly.
Popped a little Viagra in preparation for this podcast, so, you know.
So, where should we start?
I'm already
Um,
sweating. This is great, guys. We're really in the
Good.
zone here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about, let me kickstart it with movies that taught us concepts of love, which is something, Zara, you threw into the, has anybody any movies in mind that taught them about concepts of love?
I don't know if I have specifics, but I just think it's interesting that because we are so interested in film and we've, studied it and it's something that's a big part of our lives. I just thought it was interesting to think about what we learned about certain topics. And obviously, because we're looking at love this week, I was thinking back on the films that I watched when I was like a teen and the films that kind of instilled in me expectations or, whatever it is that you get out of watching a film. And I have to say that Romeo and Juliet taught me not to get carried away. That was a big life lesson there.
In what way?
Uh, could end in a double suicide pact, and that's
Okay.
that's not where we want to be. So,
Oh,
you know,
sometimes it
Just
leads,
reel it in.
sometimes that's where it goes. Yes,
sometimes
it
that is where
starts
it
off
goes.
with a bit
If
of
it's getting
touching
there,
under the shirt.
calm down.
It could lead to then a bit of suicide. Just to
There we go.
wrap
That
up
was
the evening.
one of the things I
Yeah.
learned.
So be careful.
And then what else? Like, yeah, I think the way that I watch films now, I think I learned a lot of empathy from films. I think just because if you're watching characters on a screen and you are learning how to engage with that. So you're learning that you can take away whatever you want from it, but also that you have to remember that it's a film at the end of the day. I think throughout my studies and just watching films now for fun, that's really become a big kind of thing that I think about. And yeah, so, but also I think sometimes films can give you unrealistic scenarios that you then idealize, and sometimes it romanticizes the wrong characteristics in a person and different things like that. So I think I just thought that topic was really, really interesting.
Probably one of the films that taught me, about a concept of love was probably 500 Days of Summer. Because, a lot of people take that movie quite wrongly and are like, oh, Summer's a bitch and whatever. But it actually, but she's not. Tom is actually the bitch in that film. And it relates to a little thing that I want to get into later, which is a theory of love from Eric Fromm, The Art of Loving. And it's about our commodification of each other, not just ourselves, and how in looking for love, we might actually be preventing ourselves from being capable of being loved and loving others.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
I'm
it's very
intrigued.
interesting.
I'm very intrigued.
And
I don't feel like I'm loved enough.
oh my God, maybe you should
Ryan.
read The Art of Loving.
But we love you so much.
But yeah,
I know you do. I know
we're
you
your
do.
Valentines.
Just not enough that, well, Joe and I can go to the cinema. Sarah would go to the cinema
Yeah.
and not ask you to go to the cinema. So that's a different kind of love.
It's true.
You're not invited.
Yeah. And then, well, I've said it before, but Titanic is just like that special movie to me, and I just love the fall in love at first sight thing from that movie, even though I think it's completely unrealistic and pretty
I would
damaging.
agree. That is a
But
lovely movie.
you know,
Mhm.
it's so beautiful when she jumps back on the boat. Oh, Rose,
Yes,
never
but
let
that
go.
is immediately diminished when she doesn't share the door. And
No,
Jack
no.
I
freezes.
knew this would come
What a
up. I
selfish
knew this would
bitch.
come up in this episode.
I have seen
Let's just get past it.
I've seen imagery where like it shows two people and like 4 or 5 different ways two people could lie on that door.
Hmm.
She was just utterly selfish.
Science.
Kind of
But
sympathy
then
for her. She did it
Jack
to
wouldn't have
herself.
died, and she wouldn't have had a story. So
Well, she still would have had a story. I mean, the
That's
Titanic
true.
sank. That's still a pretty big story. Would you not agree?
yeah,
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose. So yes, I would agree with Zara in that I feel like movies do set up unrealistic standards of love. They really do. I get annoyed about love in movies because it's probably to an extent why I love not particularly Valentine's movies, but movies I suppose are kind of like rom-coms or just romantic comedies, whatever. But I like to feel something in films, whether it's from the story or whether it's because of even the music that's used, which can give goosebumps and things. I love feeling things in films, and I hate that. I feel like I struggle to achieve those feelings in life. I sometimes feel like I try to inject those feelings that I get in movies into life. You know,
psychopath.
a simple example is that you could watch Rocky and you're inspired. You're inspired. So whenever you go to the gym or you go out for a run, you want to put the Rocky soundtrack, you know, on your phone
It's
or
so
in your
true,
headset
yeah.
because it just kind of
Mhm.
helps recapture those feelings.
Yeah.
I get annoyed that love isn't the same as it is in the movies.
Hmm.
So I kind of find a little list of unrealistic standards in movies in love.
Ooh.
So there's the whole thing about the rain, kissing in the rain. You know, you run up, you jump, you know, into each other's arms, and you just have a big, nice, passionate kiss in the rain. These are all wet.
You're going to catch cold.
The reality is, you're probably freezing cold,
Hypothermia.
especially if
Yeah.
you're in the UK. You're going to be freezing cold and wet, and you'll probably get sick. So that's maybe just me being more cynical. I mean, in the moment, I'm sure it's a lovely thing, but looking at it from the outsider, it seems crazy.
I mean, it's like kind of like having sex in the pool. You're going to get a urinary tract infection. So
Yes,
It's
exactly.
just what's gonna happen.
it's
Mhm.
what's bacteria's going to get in there, girl. Don't do it.
Ballroom dancing.
do
Ballroom dancing. Have either of you ever wanted to have a big moment where you're both maybe not necessarily ballroom dancing, but dancing together in a moment of love and triumph? You know, maybe the
For
prince
sure.
comes or your knight in shining
I always
armor, he
imagine
sweeps
myself
you
as
off your
Belle.
feet.
so,
Okay. Well, either
Aw.
way,
the beast.
I
You
always
are Belle, Joe.
Snuggling into that fur.
you are a wee queen.
Ooh, cozy.
Yeah.
I always envisioned you just stepping on each other's toes. Would you not agree?
Well, if you
Yeah.
can't dance, but you know,
Can you dance?
Wow, Joe.
yes.
I don't believe characters in movies naturally have this ability to just dance it perfectly.
They can all dance.
They can just
yeah.
all dance. It just doesn't seem like
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah, speaking of that,
Mm.
and like your running thing, this is just like a slight like weird tangent, but I've ran to the soundtrack of La La Land.
Oh wow, that's a
Okay.
skill,
It's actually
Joe.
really good.
Mm.
Because it ebbs and flows, and you're like, ooh.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay,
about like
yeah,
the instrumental soundtrack, not the
yeah.
not the
Okay.
vocal soundtrack. Okay,
interesting. Interesting.
yeah, just
Hmm.
putting that out there, being
I'll have to
vulnerable.
give that a go. Oh, thanks for opening up, Joe.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I envision today's dancing to be more like dirty dancing. You know, like if you go to a club or a pub or anywhere that someone's
Yeah.
dancing, it very quickly goes, "Oh, there's a stranger. Hello."
Yeah.
Till we touch to, yeah, all dirty dancing and
Grinding up on that
grinding and
jingle.
rubbing and squeezing everything.
I can just see Ryan in the club, just like loving his life.
You mate, pop an E and grind on that fucking fanny.
Yes. Writing letters was another one. So, like in the Notebook, okay, so you have Ryan Gosling's character, and he's writing a letter every single day to is it Rachel Adams, or is it Rachel McAdams?
McAdams, yeah.
McAdams. He's writing a letter every single day. Would that not get very annoying very quick?
You get kind of
Mm.
stalkery.
You'd get a
that's
sore
exactly what I said
hand.
in my notes.
Yeah.
Now when I write, no, down that we're not in school and we're not writing all the time, I always
That's
get
because
like
you're
a sore
not used to
hand.
it.
Yeah.
If I write, if I write
you
a
would
list.
quickly become accustomed
Well,
to
yeah, I
writing letters
suppose you
again.
would.
I've done it. I had a girlfriend once go to America for 3 weeks. We didn't write every day, but we wrote once, twice a week, maybe. And it was
Oh.
nice. It was nice. But it was a short period of 3 weeks. I can't imagine I have much more to say from one day to the next.
Yeah. I feel like I'd
You
have a
know,
lot to
you start to
say.
lose a bit of passion. Oh, well,
I'd
you
be
might have a
like,
lot to say. Okay.
dude, I had this amazing dinner. And they'd be like, I don't care. And I'd be like, no, but honestly, like, I feel like I could just talk absolute shit. But I know what
Honestly,
you
the
mean in terms
aubergine.
of the aubergine.
But it's a lost art form. Like
It
you've
is,
instant chat
yeah.
now. Why would you wait 2 or 3 days, or more to get a letter when you could just send instant chat? Plus, in letters,
Yeah.
you don't get those nudes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So
Give me
Because
those
that's what's
nudes.
important.
that's very important. You need to see
I'm
what you're getting
missing.
into.
I'm missing you. Bend over. That's
Take
I
a
really
all
love
that
your
Polaroid.
heart.
romance.
Yeah,
I really
just
love
go
your heart, but
into
you know what I love more than your heart? Your boobs.
Your
Yeah.
heart-shaped
Okay.
ass.
you just go into one of those
Your
Polaroid
baby.
booths. You know the big Polaroid booths. You go get a photo. Just
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
just
Well,
pick up the
back in the
top.
day, that was probably,
Probably
people
was.
didn't
Yeah,
have like
they should bring
cameras
that
or I don't
back. I
know.
would appreciate that.
They should. Wow, that would
Mhm.
be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women of the world, stop being selfish. Um,
Amazing.
and here's a real pet hate of mine. This whole bad boy thing pisses me
Mm,
off
mhm.
because it's, I mean, I'm going to be very stereotypical here. So a lot of women kind of would look at the bad boy and think he's just this kind of misunderstood man that maybe they can change, but he's a bad boy. He's a bit of an asshole to people around him, and that's all well and good. But then at some point, the magic wears off, and he becomes a dick to them, to their girlfriends, and then they complain about what an asshole he is. And it's like, you went out with an asshole, so don't be surprised when he's an asshole to you because he's an asshole. So this whole bad boy thing, I just hate that. I mean, I'm obviously a bad boy.
You're such a bad boy,
Oh,
Ryan.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I believe you.
Bad to the bone. But yes, I hate the whole bad boy thing. I mean, I get it. Obviously. Do you know what I'm saying? But I mean,
I don't know, Zara. I think from your expression, you kind of like it a little bit.
I'd
Oh
say you
man.
do. I'd say you
Guys,
do.
I'm such a sucker. Every villain or like every I'm like, oh my gosh, but like he just needs like a hug and then he'll be
Yeah.
fine. I could like
TV's different.
I could sort that.
TV's different.
Draco Malfoy, Darth
Zuko from
Vader,
Avatar, for all you Avatar
everybody,
fans there.
On the other side of the coin, men can be just as bad at that because it's that kind of trope of, if you see a bitch on camera and it's like, oh, she just needs a good one. She just needs to be,
a bad girl.
yeah, she just needs to get laid. And it's
She
like,
just
well, that's
needs
not
to,
fair
yeah.
either.
She hasn't felt my dick.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
my magic
what it
penis
comes down
that
to.
fixes
A
everything.
magic
She just,
penis that
yeah.
will cure her of her bitchiness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it
God.
does put you in a better mood, doesn't it? You have to agree.
Who doesn't love it?
Who doesn't want to have a
cut,
magic
cut,
penis?
cut.
Cut. Lots of cuts. It'll be our shortest episode yet.
Yeah.
Can we use any of this? I don't
I know.
But yes, I wish
Uh,
my love life or love lives in the past had, scenes in the rain and montage and music and all that stuff, but it's not really. You can try to do that as much as you can. Certainly, I feel like there are moments I've captured a bit of magic, but yeah, it's not always. It does set up unrealistic standards, and you can easily watch a romantic movie, and think, I wish that could happen to me. I wish I could feel what the characters are feeling. It makes me sad sometimes.
very true.
The same way that
Aw.
I chase the perfect, I chase after the perfect Christmas, and I
Mhm.
just I can't capture it, but I like chasing after it. But
That
it's just
movie
that.
Magic Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. Has anybody got any favorite romance movies?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah. I know. I think I know one of yours, Zara, because you put it down in the group as one of your favorite movies. Is it 12 Things I Hate About You, or is it the Heath Ledger one? What do you call that?
I
Joe,
think
you
you
know
would
me
love
so well.
Love Actually,
Yeah.
something.
Really? Yeah, Kat and Patrick are one of my favorite movie couples in that little category. So yeah, they're just the coolest. Do you know, I studied when I studied my master's, I wrote my dissertation about 10 Things I Hate About You. It was like Shakespeare adaptations and how they kind of captured this like pop culture. Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann did the same kind of thing. So I wrote about that, and I had to watch those films a good couple times to analyze them and get in the zone and all of those things. And I remember I went for a haircut like a couple of weeks after I turned in that piece of work. And the girl that was cutting my hair was like, do you know who you remind me of? We'd been chatting for maybe like half an hour. She's like, do you know who you remind me of? You know that what's that film with like Heath Ledger and like, and I was like, wait, is this 10 Things I Hate About You? She's like, yeah. The girl in it, the main girl. I was like, really? Kat Stratford? I remind you of Kat Stratford. I was like,
Girl?
that was like the biggest compliment I'd ever gotten. I was like, am I weirdly like mimicking her because I just watched those films so many times? Or am I just genuinely like her? That was, guys, that was one of the best days ever. I was like
Oh,
skipping home on a cloud. I was like, yes.
yes,
So yeah,
queen.
I think they're the best. They're so cool.
10 Things I Hate About You is Taming of the Shrew, isn't it?
It is
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
indeed.
I
a
know my
true-
Shakespeare pop culture.
You know it, baby. Yeah.
What was your second one?
True romance.
Okay.
Even though it is très très violent.
Violent.
I just think it's so like like weirdly realistic. Like you can be in a shit situation with someone and both be headers, but it's totally meant to happen and it just works out somehow. I don't know. I just really enjoyed that film. I only watched it recently within the last like year. And everyone had always been recommending it. And then when I finally watched it, I could see why. So it all kind of made sense.
Cool. What about you, Joe?
I don't know.
Lord of the
I'm not
Rings or
like a big
something
romantic.
stupid?
Well, I was going to say Lord of the Rings for Sam and Frodo. That's a fucking love story, if
Yep.
there
That is.
ever
There's no
was
stronger
one.
love.
But I don't know. Like, I don't really like love movies, but at the same time, like I have awful trash taste in them. Like real trash taste. One of my favorite or guilty pleasures, you could say, is 27 Dresses.
Ooh, Catherine
Like, I mean,
Heigl.
that's trash tier fucking movies right there. But I don't know. There's something just weirdly comforting about it. I just kind of like it.
But
And you
all
know what?
romantic movies are going to be a bit cheesy and a bit out there and a bit,
Yeah.
like you're always going to have a guilty pleasure when it comes. A romantic
Yeah.
movie that you enjoy is probably like they're all going to be a guilty pleasure. It doesn't matter what you pick.
Yeah. And then of course we're gonna go real trash here. Oh, Twilight.
Oh my god!
Yeah. It's
I've
having
still
it's
never
having a
seen
comeback.
Twilight.
So
Never seen it. Haven't watched them.
you really
Can't believe
should. I mean,
Joe
just to
is
have
jumping on
like
the
pop
bandwagon
culture.
of
Yeah.
Twilight School now.
Twilight is. I read the books when I was but a little tot, and I was
That's a child.
obsessed with Edward and Bella. Like I wouldn't shut up about them, and it's time to come clean, come out of the closet, and say I like the first movie of Twilight.
It's not a bad film.
It's not that bad. It's kind of indie. The rest of the movies are blah, blah.
There's 3 of them. Yes,
4.
4. Well, I know
Yeah.
it's to do with
5?
werewolves and
5 maybe.
vampires.
There's 5, yeah. Because
Okay.
there's 4 books, but they're the last
I don't
book
know
is
if I
made
can go
into
through
2
all 5.
movies.
Although Robert Patterson, he is a very good actor, but I don't know. It just that was that's a bit
It's
out
too
there.
sparkly.
Yeah.
Too
It's the skin
sparkly.
of a killer, Bella.
Oh wow, that was really well delivered, Joe.
Well, I can't speak
Thanks.
because I have. I think there's still a step above Twilight in my eyes, but
Well,
I was looking at because I'm a bit like Joe. I don't really sit and watch like romantic comedies, romantic movies. It's not really something I'm into. I've chosen 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler, not because I'm thinking this is a movie that I love, because it's an okay movie. It's a standard Adam Sandler movie, probably one of his slightly better ones, comparably to recent. I just wondered, how do you put up with that? So his partner forgets every day, or with amnesia, her mind wipes and she forgets who he is, and he has to try and recapture that every single day. I just wondered who would do that. How could you put up with that? That is a lot of work. And do you know what the big problem is as well? So she'll forget you overnight, okay? So every time she sees you, it's the first time she's seeing you. You could be with her for 6 months, 10 years. You start to know what you do and what you don't like about her as a person. The problem is she will never fix her traits that you don't like. We can all grow and develop in a relationship, and you know what pisses the other
Right.
person off, and you can work on those things. She will never change. So when you think, oh, I fucking hate the way she does this, or, leaves food all over the
She
counter,
only
or doesn't
has
pick up
a
after herself,
day.
she will never change.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if that says more about
Stressful.
me.
not to like really bring the tone down here, but people do deal with that in real life.
Yeah.
Dementia is a thing.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
they love the person, they love them despite or maybe because of some of their traits, and they have to deal with them forgetting them every
That's
single
different
day.
because you've spent a certain amount of time with them or a lifetime with them. You love them, and then there is this like it doesn't matter. Even if dementia sets in, as horrible as that would be, you're still gonna love that person. You're still gonna want to see them through to the end.
Yeah.
If you met somebody and they would just forget you overnight constantly, you'd think, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that would be really hard.
It'd be very difficult. I get maybe it's easier if you have a scrapbook and your family's there and you have a kid and you can say, here's all the stuff we have. I'm not bullshitting you, but I think at the start it would be very difficult.
It would be really difficult.
It'd be very easy for you to walk away. And at any point, the relationship could just stop working. I wondered how genuine can the relationship be, knowing that when you know what she likes and doesn't like, you could nearly kind of coax her into sleeping
you
with
could
you
be
or
like
going out on a date
quite
with you.
manipulative in a way because you get more time to your memories stay, whereas hers don't. So
Well, Dad watched
you
the
could
other
break
night.
up with her at any time as well. So.
You could just
and
walk
she
away.
wouldn't.
You could just
She
walk
wouldn't
away.
know.
Wouldn't
She'd be
know.
like, "Okay, who's this?"
The easiest breakup ever. Like, I mean,
So I just thought it's not a fantastic movie, but it was a movie that just kind of gave me a little light bulb moment of this is an interesting premise.
What if you got like really bored of her, okay, and then you went away for a while, and then you were just like going around with everybody else, and then you came back, but because you knew her and you knew she wouldn't change, you just use the same tactics again just to get with her? Like, what?
You could do.
Totally possible.
That's sinister.
It is. So, very happy Valentine's episode here, obviously, as ever.
Happy Valentine's, everyone.
We love love.
Yes, we're all very happy times here. On a more serious note, again, they're not great movies. I mean, I do like the likes of like Love Actually and all those kind of cheesy movies. I have seen them. I do like them. But Hitch with Will Smith and Kevin James. I do enjoy a bit of Kevin James.
I do not like
It's
Kevin
funny.
James.
It's just I chose it simply because of the lesson, which was be yourself and don't pretend to be somebody that you're not. Because Will Smith tries to constantly change his clients to be another person to just kind of coax a woman into bed or into a relationship. So I valued the lesson, a very simple lesson from that movie, and it's just an easy watch.
You know what other film does that?
What?
Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging.
A classic.
I just remember the
real
trailer
classic.
and the big long saliva drip from the first kiss. That's all I can recall.
That captured a moment for me in
Didn't it?
life. When I think
Captured a
back to
moment for
being
me too.
14, that was just how life was. And I watched it with all my friends at the time at a sleepover, and wow.
I mean,
Are you-
iconic line.
Yeah.
Georgia, why are your legs orange?
So
What
many
a- what a
iconic
film.
lines. Oh, it's incredible. Remember she goes to a party dressed as a Volavant?
She's like, you're an olive. I'm stuffed olive. Stuffed is right. And you're like, ooh, ooh.
Oh,
She-
wow. Right on the nose. Brian's like, what is this film? And
Yeah.
I know what this film
What is wrong with
I know
you
this film
Classic
is.
film.
So, Joe, you had some theories on love that you want to discuss.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's similar to what Zara said, about the movies, which is, that they give us really unrealistic expectations on things. And a movie that I think encapsulates that really well is 500 Days of Summer, because the main character, Tom, is portrayed as this hopeless romantic, who takes all of his ideas of love from movies, and the narrator states that he will not be satisfied until he finds the one. That is his goal. It's kind of like Ted from How I Met Your Mother as well, the way he's just always searching after that one. The thing is that they do not put any work into loving themselves or being at peace with themselves in any way. And Eric from the Frankfurt School of Thought had a theory about this, which is that you need to love yourself, or you need to be at peace with yourself in some way so that you're capable of not only loving others, but being loved. Because if you market yourself as a product and pick your partner in the same way, like, oh, she likes the Smiths, so therefore she has good taste in music, so therefore she's a good partner for me. That's not like a metric of love, but a lot of the time people do that. They pick partners because they just have similar interests rather than, are we actually compatible as people? So I suppose we can discuss.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because so you have people on either side of the spectrum that say, oh, he or she's perfect for me because we're so very alike. And on the other side of the coin, you've got people saying, oh, they complete me. They're the opposite of me entirely, but they complete me. I just think they're both full of shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, he kind of says that as well.
It's just an easy argument.
Yeah, that completing one, you're like, oh, you complete me. It's you're now using your partner as a completion tool, and you're like, I'm not complete without you. Whereas no, you're a complete person who has the capability of loving others, or if you're not, then you need to kind of be to truly love somebody. That's what he says
Right.
anyway.
Yeah. That statement says that something is missing,
Hmm.
Hmm.
which is not a very good mindset to be in. If you think
Yeah.
that you need something to be okay, then if you don't have that thing, then are you going to be okay? You have to be okay first and then be able to build upon that with someone else. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
But how?
feel like now, if this is wrong, sorry, Ryan, but I
You're
feel like
okay.
Ryan and I both, when we watched that film, we were Tom. We were like, why is Summer such a freaking bitch? But I feel like, Joe, you were like, Summer is entitled to live her life the way she lives her life.
Yeah,
So,
the thing about Summer
yeah.
is she says up front in the movie, I'm not looking
Hmm.
for anything serious. And she states all her desires or her non desires, and Tom consistently ignores them. There's this thing in romantic movies, especially for males, that persistence pays off. It's that no doesn't mean no. No just means no for now until
Ooh.
Right.
I get that. Yes, it's a weird kind of thing. Yeah.
Later on, you'll change
Mm,
your mind.
Yeah. You don't want to be
Halfway through, you'll say
my
yes.
boyfriend, or you don't want to be my girlfriend for now. But
but you
we'll turn
will.
that no into a yes,
There
the art
is
of business and
there
all
is
that.
some truth in that. I see that today, and I see that even in my 14, 15-year-old self, where you're friends with a girl that you want something more to happen, and she's maybe already said no, we're just friends, and you're like, oh, okay, we're just friends, but you're still kind of hoping that that changes into something else. And like
Hmm.
I would agree that I've been in that situation where I have hung around with someone longer because I hoped that something would blossom from our friendship, and it never was going to happen
Mm.
because she
Yeah.
was never going to allow that. And I wish I'd came to terms with that sooner and said, "Well, fuck you." No, I'm joking. But I wish I came to terms with that. I wish I could walk away.
Yeah. That comes with maturity, though, and it
Yeah.
comes with understanding
Hmm.
how people work and how different emotions can, you know, kind of blind you in a way. And yeah.
Do either of you believe in the one?
No.
No, I don't.
Ooh, I don't think so anymore. I think,
What are the chances that the one just happens to be like, say, Zara, you went out with Joe, just
Oh,
hypothetically
girl.
said,
Well, let's
girl,
go
would go
public,
there.
Zara, because
but say you were
I
in
can't believe you're
love.
telling everyone.
But sorry, Chris. But what are the chances that Joe, the love of your life, as you put it, or Joe, as you put it, just happens to be somebody that lives within 10, 15 miles of where you were born?
Yeah.
Hmm.
In the
So true.
entirety of this entire planet, billions of people, and the love of your life, your soulmate, just happens to be born 10 miles down the road from you. I don't
Yeah.
believe
Mm,
that. I
And
mean, I believe
yeah.
you can love several people. I believe that you can
Hmm.
be in a loving with someone you would love wholeheartedly, you would never cheat on, absolute loyalty to, and you'll be with them to the day you die. But I do believe that yes, that person could pass away, or you could break up, you could move to another country entirely, or county, or state, or wherever. And I do feel like you would find love in somebody else in a different form. But I do believe that I just don't believe that there's any the one for any one person.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he says some interesting things about the actual art of love. He compares it to a craft or an art. And to get good at an art or a craft, you have to practice at it. You have to put in a concerted work. And we often talk about falling in love. I was struck by a lightning bolt and, oh, it just came over me, blah, 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 blah. And it's just this thing that happens to you. But if we look at it as something that you do, as something that you put effort into every day, then it becomes something entirely different. And that's why a lot of relationships do fall apart, because the work doesn't go into it. As soon as they feel like they're not compatible, boom, let's break up. It's that commodification of relationships.
But it's
Now,
easy
like,
Mm,
for films to do
yeah,
that. Films can make you second guess your relationship. You think,
yeah.
well,
yeah,
why am I not having this? Why is sex not always perfect? Why
yeah.
is
Why
our
aren't I kissing in
dinner
the
always
rain?
perfect? Yes,
Mm,
exactly. And it's easy
Yeah,
for you to question that and think, well, why don't I have that? It does set up unrealistic standards, absolutely.
hmm.
And like that's
yeah.
where
I
I
mean,
can
But I
question
think
that.
also the thing with the standards and expectations thing is, though, I think having high standards is fine,
mhm,
but you
Yeah.
can't have high expectations.
yeah,
So you have to set, I think the thing that I didn't do because of my absorption of movies was have a realistic approach to practicalities in the real world. And I assumed that my life would just be like a film, because
Yeah.
that was my life. I was watching films in my downtime. I was working on films. I was studying films. I was talking about films to my friends. So it was always these ideas were perpetuated. And then it was only when I had to practically put those things into use that I'd learned that they just didn't work. It was like,
Yeah.
that's too, it's romanticizing, and it's just not realistic. And it'll just lead to, it'll just lead to disappointment.
Do you,
Definitely.
do you think that it's maybe not fair to say, but do you think it's maybe because we love film and media so much, and when we watch a movie or whatever, we ingest so much of it, what's happening in the foreground, the background, the way the camera moves, the music, the intent, the emotion you're expected to feel? Do you think that because we see more of what they're trying to create in television or in film, that as people are interested in that industry, do we expect more than the average person? Because we get more from that? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I feel like my expectations of love and relationship are very, very high because of film.
Hmm.
Something that can always be met, sometimes can be met. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I mean, if you approach it with a critical eye, you would just see that every bloody like rom-com movie is very, very toxic. Like they're constantly insulting each other, and they mean the insults. It's not like, playful banter, like I fancy you, you're a dickhead, man.
Mm.
It's like, no, I hate you. I genuinely hate you, and I have to grow to like you. So I mean, if you look at it like that, but if you're looking at just sort of from a movie perspective and you don't take it seriously, then I don't think it's very harmful or anything like that. If you kind of just watch it as the trash tier kind of entertainment it is, then it's good. But
Yeah, I think
I
I've
don't know.
definitely learned to detach from the
Yeah,
narratives, and yeah.
I think as you do get older, you do just see it for what it is, which is complete fantasy. There's nothing realistic about like The Notebook or something like that. It's
Mm.
um, but as a teenager, you guys, said, you might have been the Tom whenever you were watching 500 Days of Summer. As a teenager, I was definitely a Tom for a while, and it hurt. It hurt so
Mm.
much. The amount of times I broke my little tiny heart, it was just fucking shit because I
Oh.
expected my life to be like a movie, and that's
Mm.
why I am the cold person I am today because of you,
Ooh,
Hollywood.
that's where the cynicism came
That's
from.
where it came from.
Thank goodness it did.
Yeah. I mean, or else you just go around constantly breaking your heart if you expected life to be
Oh.
like a movie, wouldn't you?
Yeah, little Zaz definitely had to learn that. She was like, "Is this just what it's going to be like, guys? Is everything going
Yeah.
to be like magical and beautiful?" And then, no,
Life
no,
is
life is
pain.
hard. Life is definitely, you got to
It's
be
sad. It's sad when that
realistic.
dies. It's sad
Yeah.
when that magic and hope dies. It doesn't mean to say you can't
Mm.
expect love and magic and mystery, but it's definitely about creating expectations, the right expectations.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But you have to learn that the hard way and create that in yourself. Hollywood will
Yeah.
never create that for you.
You do.
They
I
do
think it makes
not.
you more
No.
resilient though too, because you might want that, but if you don't get it, you won't die. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
like that thing of you're okay without it.
Learn to be lonely.
Oh, learn to love yourself.
Zara, you had chat up lines. I'm very interested to hear about that.
Oh
What
my
kind of chat up
goodness,
lines did
yes.
you have
Yeah.
for us?
Okay. So my fave numero uno was Audrey Hepburn from 1963's Charade. And she says, "I don't bite, unless it's called for." Oh,
It's such a cheesy chat
But
line
you would
now.
never
I mean,
say
you
that.
see
You
it
would never
everywhere.
say that. You would never walk up to a person in a bar and just say that on its own. I feel like you need to be mid
there's got to be
conversation
something
or
else.
know that there needs to be something kind of prior to that statement, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, now that is just kind of like shorthand for into BDSM. Yeah,
That's definitely what it's short for.
Well,
Another
if a girl came
classic.
up and said that to me, you'd be instantly like, grab your coat. I mean, you wouldn't
You'd
turn it
love that,
down.
right?
I'd love it. I'd love it. Yeah.
I love the way you're shitting on it, and then you're like, "Here, that would
I-
get me."
Yeah.
but at the same time, though, do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
Mm.
Because if you do, we're made for each other. Owen Wilson then in Wedding Crashers, he said,
uh,
you know how they say we only use 10% of our brains? I think we only use 10% of our hearts.
Wedding
so-
Crashers is one of my favorite movies. I love the Wedding Crashers.
Do you love that
I
film?
love the Wedding
It's
Crashers
so
because that was
silly.
one of my favorite quotes. Actually, was from the Wedding Crashers, where Will Smith's character says, "True love is soul's recognition of its counterpart in another." I love
Will
that when
Smith?
he.
Oh,
Did I say Will Smith? Sorry, I meant
Yeah.
Owen Wilson.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know why I said Will Smith.
you're still on Hitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still on Hitch. I don't know. When he said that, I love that line. It feels so scientific but true. There was more behind the words. I don't know. I love that statement. And it's probably because of the moment where it helps her when she's delivering her speech and the music's there and she's starting to cry and it's very, very sincere. And he's pointing to his heart. And what really he's just pointing to the napkin where he wrote the thing on. But yeah, I loved it. Sorry, go ahead.
That's so cute. No, I just had another one then. I really liked Anchorman when he says, I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal. I just thought
Yeah.
that was great.
That is a good one.
You're making me sad. I miss my car that I had called Ron Burgundy.
Oh.
Because it was burgundy. For those listening, the car was burgundy in color, and my initials are RON. So I called it Ron Burgundy. I was very, very
Beautiful.
proud of that. Nobody enjoyed that. Nobody thought it was funny. Nobody thought it was entertaining. And I was like,
What
come
kind of
on,
friends do you
that's
have that
amazing. Is
nobody
that-
loved that?
Exactly. What
It's
other
so
person
good.
on the face of this planet can have that exact? I just thought it was perfect. I just thought it was perfect. Nobody else enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I might not get the reference right away, but then when you explained it, I would be like, "Oh, that's actually pretty."
Well, I had to
clever. I
explain
like
it to a lot of people. Yeah.
it.
Any more?
No, that was it.
You just picked three.
Those are
Just
my
the top three.
picks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There were plenty
Well-
of other ones, but you know.
So I went on the internet and I found a missed connections. We're all familiar with what missed connections are. Yes.
Oh
No?
yes, is that the?
It's like
I like-
somebody meets somebody out in the world and then they'll go into like Craigslist or something.
Ah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
usually it's mostly an American thing and they put up a post to try and find this person.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me explain this to you. So I looked online for some missed connections because I thought it was very funny. So there's a missed connection with the title of. So this one's titled "The Total Babe in Total Wine." This is very, very well worded. Accidentally brushed against you in the Total Wine on Mills Drive. I said, "Excuse me." You said nothing, but the way you looked said it all. The air was dense with something, almost like a storm. Was it in the air or was it you? You were, I don't know how to describe it, brooding. Sleek is the word, I think. Ever since I haven't been able to get you out of my mind. In that split second of contact, I felt like our worlds melted together. It's amazing where the mind goes in moments like these and where it doesn't. I suddenly find myself thinking about power lines, the buzz of electricity in the summer, a loose live wire ripping free from its conduit to whip wildly on the scorching blacktop. I thought about fire hydrants, their valves wrenched open in desperate attempt to release floods of unbearable pressure. I considered how you would feel like a shocking snap of fresh ginger. I don't get that. At checkout, I snuck one last look before staggering out into the sun toward my car. A woman in the parking lot was scolding her child, and I briefly lost balance. Maybe I'll miss you. Maybe everything will feel fresher from now on. Even in your absence, you're still somehow my relief. Wow. That
God.
was a mouthful.
Guys, I'm sweating again.
Could you imagine? I wonder,
That
do they
was
ever
intense.
work? Do they ever actually work?
Well, this is the thing I want to ask then. Is there any follow-up? Like
There's
if they
no
find each
follow-up.
other
There's
again?
no follow-up.
Ah, damn.
There's another short one here called "To the Girl Throwing Up from Her Cab."
Oh,
You were
Oh,
discharging a Thanksgiving Day feast worth of victuals and booze onto the pavement of the market while I cheered you on from the car behind yours. You played your part perfectly, encumbering the city with freshly minted aromas of regurgitated cranberry sauce and vodka. I played mine with equal grace, impregnating the vacant morning air with the clamorous hoots of a drunkard. It was in that moment we shared that we will always have together. They can never take that away from us. Please don't ever change.
oh God. I mean, I recently watched Promising Young Woman. Anybody seen that?
mm,
No.
I
Yeah.
have not, but I
The-
would like to.
Those adverts give me real Promising Young Woman vibes. You know, the meals in that one. I don't know if
Mm.
anybody knows about it. I don't want to spoil anything because I mean, it's predicated on the twist, basically.
Mm.
But you know, there are nasty men out there, and
I just love
yeah.
Joe's face as he says that.
if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If only you could see my face, listener. You can if you follow us on social media. So
Yes, follow us
Follow
on
us to
social
see our
media. Yeah, if
faces.
we're doing anything right at all, like
You get
comment,
free
and
nudes.
subscribe. Yes, you do get free nudes from Joe. Joe,
yeah,
Just from Joe.
just from
just
Joe.
DM me.
Mhm.
Send me a picture of your ID, a valid ID, so that we're not doing anything wrong, and then we'll work something out.
Yes, prove your age.
Maybe I'll open an OnlyFans or something. Who knows?
Oh my gosh, Joe's OnlyFans. Wow. What a
You'd
trip
make a
that would be.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan.
I had a like, okay, in inverted commas, romantic film or Valentine's film that everybody else really likes that you don't like. Did anyone have one of those?
No.
Because I
Because
don't really watch them, so
yeah, I was thinking about how everyone like romanticizes 50 Shades and those kinds of films,
oh,
and
I've
they're
seen
like,
that.
"We're gonna say it for Valentine's," and I'm like, "Wow, that's romantic."
Yeah, do
So
50 Shades. I've got a fun story about 50 Shades.
tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went to see 50 Shades of Grey whenever I was in university in my undergrad,
University.
and it was when obviously when it came out, it was a big thing. And I thought I was going to get to see some like, at least some steamy softcore stuff.
Mm.
All I saw was the top of a peen and then maybe like a bit of bajingo. Um,
Damn.
but while sitting in the theater, yeah, it was just the top of Jamie Dornan's peen.
Pain is
Was it
like,
his peen or was it a
yeah,
stunt peen?
Well, it could have been like
was it a stunt pain?
a stunt
Could have been a
double
stunt
peen, who
peen, yeah.
knows? But they were well groomed anyway, so they obviously had a fluffer on set. Um, but
A
anyway,
fluffer
so I
isn't. A
was
fluffer
at
doesn't
the edge
groom.
of my group. So
Just so you know, a fluffer doesn't groom.
oh yeah, fluffer. Oh yeah,
A
I forgot.
fluffer keeps it hard. Yeah,
Do they not?
I don't. I don't think so.
Yeah, but I thought they like arranged the pubiscus in like in ways.
I'd love to know what they get paid. I'm very curious. That must be a well-paying job. Would have to be.
It'd be a pretty easy job.
You'd
To be
be
fair.
bad at your job
For me, anyway.
if you finished them
Oh.
off. If you finished them off, you're bad at your job.
Oh damn, I'd be awful at the job.
Yeah,
Then
then they have
God.
to bring in a stunt peen.
But anyway, so I was at the edge of my group, so I had to like sit beside a stranger, and this stranger was a
I don't know
woman,
why that's funny.
and she was very drunk. I don't know why she was let in,
Did you take
and
advantage?
I mean, whenever there was any like hint of
Answer
anything,
better, Joe. Answer quicker.
she was just like, "Oh, you're a nice young man sitting beside me. You got a girlfriend?"
She did
And she started like
not.
reaching into her bag, getting more and more like drunk, and then she actually, no joke, took out a dildo and started waving it about.
Oh my god! Wow.
So, and she was
Oh
like,
my
"So you want
God.
to meet me in the toilet?" And I was like,
Oh,
"Not even talking to you." I just like looked away, like, "Nope." And then she disappeared halfway through the movie and didn't come back. So,
Oh my
oh
goodness.
my god! Wow.
Wow. I can't believe that was your real life, Joe.
that was real life.
I mean, we're talking about our lives not being like films, but that's pretty like a film to me.
Girl, you don't know what kind of
Wow.
life I lead.
Wow.
That's an incredible story.
Wow.
That's
That
gonna
should-
stay with me.
That
Yeah.
It's gonna haunt me.
Yeah. She was out for fun.
Well, I had a short list of 5 movies that apparently you shouldn't watch during Valentine's, anti-Valentine's
Ooh.
movies.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So there was Get Out, a
Yeah.
classic meet the parents story. Brilliant movie. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I actually thought that'd be
Mm.
exciting. Would that not be exciting? If you were a secret
Yeah, I mean that's
agent and
where
spy and you find out.
Brangelina began. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really think it was a bad movie. 50 Shades of Grey was on there,
There we go.
or as I like to call
Yeah.
it, 50 Shades of Shite. I've never actually watched it.
it's
just
really boring. It's
yeah,
really
yeah,
boring.
I've heard. It is pornography. When I see a woman sitting reading it, you're like, really? Basic Instinct. Not a Valentine's movie. Something
No.
you watch when you're 14.
Scary. Yeah.
No, not scary.
It's
You ever
it
s-
scarred me. I watched it pretty young and
Right.
did not know what was happening.
Okay. Yes.
So it'll
well,
always be scary to me,
What's
even as an
going
adult now.
you watch it as you're coming of age.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Gone Girl. That actually was an interesting choice.
I think that's a great Valentine's film.
You think so?
It's very romantic.
The wife goes missing and everyone, I remember actually taking a girl to see it, not a Valentine's because it came out Halloween time or something. I remember going to see it, and there was a scene where um, Ben Affleck is literally pushing his wife up against the wall, and it's just like
Oof.
it's a real like when he pushed her up against the wall. And I can't really remember. Maybe his hand was around his throat, and you heard the thud of her just skull cracking off the wood, and you thought, "Ooh!" And it was just real hard to watch. And this was one of these like first date movies, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Pin me,
Totally killed the
Batman.
mood. Yeah, like I think actually, mood killer, absolute mood killer, because it wasn't one of those movies
Mm,
you come out and you're like, oh hey baby, and you're holding hands and all, and you're talking. No, it was
right.
just like shit,
Don't
Yeah.
frame me.
so bad.
Yeah,
It
you
was
could be
such
a
an awkward
psycho.
one.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Maybe
I
watch it
remember I
in
had a
a loyal relationship, well
yeah, when you're
fleshed
a
out
few years
relationship.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not on
yeah.
first date.
I had a was it a first date or a second date watching 12 Years a Slave.
Oh, fun.
Oh, you've said this
Wow,
before. Yeah.
just like yeah, it was really, but also because he was really like affected by it. Like he was like wincing every time people were like being like whipped and stuff, and he was really kind of, and I was kind of like not really like, I just wasn't in the zone for like that kind of film. I don't know. I just was like, "Ugh, whatever. Not to the themes, but just in terms of like,
Yeah. Hmm.
but it was yeah, he was really like really suffering, and I was like, "Oh, I feel really bad. Like, it's supposed to be, cute, and like we're supposed to be like holding hands and stuff, but there's a lot of stuff happening on the screen, and it's a lot, and it's. So yeah, that was a weird choice. It was a good film, but maybe just not, as you say, like for a date.
Hmm.
Do you think with him being on the date, did you say first date?
It was like a second date. It was like
Yeah.
I think we were just very new into the relationship.
Do you think like he was being affected by it, or was he just trying to like gain sympathy points? Like, oh,
Ooh.
I'm
Ooh,
empathetic.
could have been. You just went too
No, I
far the
think
other way.
he was just like really
Genuinely
just
affected. Yeah.
didn't, yeah, he just
Maybe
didn't
you're
get
just
those
very
feelings.
hard to please there. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe I'm just really like
Yeah,
unempathetic and
that's it.
unbothered
Yeah.
by
Could
horrible
be.
events that have happened.
Heartless bitch.
Look,
Maybe I'm
Do you
just
know
a
what you
horrible
need?
person.
Do you know what you
50
need?
Shades of Grey.
Or maybe I was just so like in the like throes of a new relationship that I was just like loving my life, and
Mhm.
nothing was like,
Nothing
gonna
was going to
affect
ruin
that.
that. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
even
That's
slavery can bring
possible.
me
That's
down.
possible.
Even slavery. Wow. But a great film. Sorry, Joe. Made you
Just throw
choke
that in
on your
there.
water.
Just a wee bit. On my sparkling water.
A sparkling water, of course,
Sparkling
but
water.
of course.
Well, what about lastly, I suppose, does anybody have any kind of favorite or not so favorite couples from movies, Valentine's couples?
Joe's got his
Mm,
thinking face on.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm just
I'll
trying
tell
to.
you mine. While I'm like, well, I wouldn't, that was a tough one, but I did stumble across Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan because they're in Sleepless in Seattle
Mm,
and they're in
hmm
You've Got Mail, two very, very enjoyable movies. And I just picked them instantly. I thought that's it. That's me.
mm.
Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, classic couple, great 90s movies. Loved it. I would
Good
probably rather
choice, Ryan.
watch 90s romantic movies as opposed to modern day movies.
Mm,
Yeah.
I get that. Uh, I had um, I had written down Matt and Jenna from 13 Going on 30.
Mm, okay.
That's one of my faves from back in the day. Um, I also had Baby and Johnny from Dirty Dancing because I only watched that recently, like maybe this time last year for the first time, um, and really liked the film and was kind of upset that I liked the film because it was this big, like, I don't know, like chick flick, like, I don't know.
You're
I just felt
upset that
like
you
it was a
liked
little bit,
it.
yeah, I was kind of like, I don't want to like this. Like, this is like such a typical, like, oh, everybody, like, every woman loves this film. I was like, I'm not going to be like that. Then I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is such a good film.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. But that was one of mine. And then like lastly, one of my other like favorite movie couples is maybe like TV couple is you'll love this, Ryan. Vegeta and Bulma.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I
That is
love
a
them so much.
fantastic choice. I
And Joey will
wonder
also
how
like
that
that.
relationship goes.
Yeah.
How does
I'm
that
not. I'm not a
relationship
big
work? I
Dragon Ball
love
Z
that.
person.
Oh, that's a great one. That
And I
that
love her
hit that
hair.
that hits home.
Mm,
R.I.P.
yeah.
R.I.P. Bilma.
I picked. I picked a good couple.
R.I.P.
They're not like my favorite couple because I'm not like super into this franchise or anything. But you know what? When you look at it, you're like, damn, you a good couple. And it's Morticia and Gomez Adams.
Oh,
The
yes.
They
ultimate.
love each other
They do.
so
Oh
They
much.
do.
My
That is
God,
the
they are
perfect
like
love.
the epitome. Yeah,
They
they
are.
are like
Yeah.
what you show
I just
people who
love
you're
the
like,
way he
what?
takes
Yeah.
the arm and he's like, God and me, and he just kisses up the arm. It's
Oh,
like nobody
mi
does
Even
amor.
that.
in death,
But
it's so
yes,
romantic.
Oh
You know,
my
yes.
they can't wait to
goodness,
die together. And
they're beautiful.
Morticia,
They're
Do
so
you know who I
Gomez.
love in
beautiful.
that movie? Cousin It. I want to see what's underneath all
Oh,
that
I
hair.
love Cousin It. Oh,
Yo, what that hair do?
Yeah.
what's underneath?
Just more hair.
Just more hair. It's all just all hair.
Under the mask is another mask.
I was gonna say, do you guys have any like first crushes from films?
First
Hmm.
Like, do you
crushes.
remember like just being like
Bulma.
enamored?
No.
Oh, of course, Bulma
Um,
Breeze.
Do you know who I love? Nomi Rapace. If I'm even
Mm,
pronouncing that right. From the girl, the
From
Swedish version, the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Prometheus?
Yes, I'm from Prometheus. I think she's a
mhm,
phenomenal actress. I think she's very cute. There's something just about her like
mhm.
facial structure
I
that
just
I
remembered a crush
find
that I
really
had.
about.
Oh,
I
God.
love deep dark eyes. I think if a woman has like really just dark
Mm,
eyes, then I kind of feel like I don't know. I just sometimes feel like you can really like they're just looking. I just get the impression you can really look into them, into their soul type of thing, or they're looking into you. You know, I don't know why.
mm.
And she has those eyes. It's
It's
like, oh
intriguing.
yes, just look at me and I'll finish. So I
Just
love
look
that.
at me.
Yeah,
I'll
just look at
finish.
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So-
Wow. Okay.
Okay, right.
Okay,
I
right.
meant I'll finish this
Think I'm
book
done there.
and take her out
Yeah.
for a cup of
Right.
a
I'll
cup of
finish
tea.
this
okay,
story.
Yes,
All right. Okay. Okay.
take her out for a coffee.
We'll go with the PG version. Okay.
Uh,
I know that's
okay,
not
Joe, I
like
really want to hear yours.
yes, go ahead.
I think you'll like this one. Well, I suppose you will too as well, Ryan. Okay, here we go. Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Stop it.
He is
Really?
so beautiful.
Obi-Wan
Master
Kenobi.
Kenobi. I fancied him so much.
Oh my goodness, that's such a good one.
Oh,
That leads really nicely onto mine, which we probably all know. It's Hayden Christensen.
well, you get the Padawan, I get the master.
I loved him so much, guys. Like I would like see him and like imagine our life together and like, just like build up this like narrative and like what we were gonna do on our dates and like, what he would be like
What he
to
could do
cuddle
with all his
against.
force powers and stuff, just
Yeah.
throw you around the room.
Exactly,
Yep.
guys.
Mhm.
I mean, come on. And like,
Yeah.
yeah. So he was like my first movie crush. And then also on the other side of that is Queen Amidala. So yeah,
Good
just like
choice.
loved her as
Very good
well.
choice. Yeah.
Wanted to be Natalie Portman because then I could be with Hayden, but also just like really, she's like just really beautiful and
She's cool.
it was a lot, guys. Yeah.
She's
So
badass.
the
And he could be the
prequels.
Black Swan as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I used to imagine myself as Obi-Wan Kenobi's Padawan, that replaced Anakin.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then we'd go on
Mm.
missions together, we'd hang out.
Oh yeah.
What would I do?
Really
What would I be
romantic.
doing,
You're really
guys?
cute.
What would I be doing?
Well, you could
Include
go
me.
and solve mysteries with Dragon Tattoo Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be like,
You could be your
yeah,
sidekick
yeah.
yeah,
and
You
protect
could
her
be like
from all
the
the
cop,
abuse that
the
she receives.
detective.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could totally do that. Yeah.
We're out saving the galaxy with lightsabers, me and Zara.
Yeah.
And I'm
Solving
back
mysteries.
having loads of really perverse, wild, and crazy sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all win.
We all
win.
win. Totally.
We're learning the mysteries of the Force. You're learning
The mysteries of her force.
Yo.
God. Oh,
That was some deep stories
some
right there.
deep
That was
stuff.
Wow.
Very deep
I
things
feel
stuff.
like we all
hadn't
really
thought about.
opened up there with some deep-rooted like
yeah.
childhood stuff there.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything they want to talk about?
I think that's a good.
think,
Probably
yeah,
a good
I think
place to
that's-
stop. Okay, fair enough. Well, that about wraps us up this week for another episode of 8-Bit Popcorn. We thank you for joining us, and hopefully we've inspired you to be a little bit more skeptical. Everyone has an ulterior motive, and can you really trust a Valentine's card that doesn't have any money in it? Flash that cash. See you next week.
What? Love
How was
you.
that?
Bye.
Was that a good
Love
outro?
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Love you all,
Love
our
you
fans. We
guys.
love all our
Yeah.
fans.
Love you.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Mwah.
Had to go out on a very sour note, I thought.
I love that.
There was
Yeah.
too much love. There was too much love in that.
Yeah.
It was getting too intense, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you had to bring it down a peg.
Especially with my Padawan fantasies coming back to me. Whoa.
I literally had a
Things we
Jedi
did.
braid in school.
I thought
so
you
I'm
were
right
talking
there with
about
you.
the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin was the relationship you love. I
No,
didn't actually
I
think that it
was-
was. Yeah.
I was
No,
the
he was
Padawan.
Anakin in that. Yeah, in
Yeah,
that scenario.
I was coming back from a mission. You know, Obi-Wan was all beat up, and I was like, "Master, do you want a back massage? I could use the Force to help heal you. It'll be training, and it'll be pleasurable."
Put your lightsaber away. Wait, no. Get it back out.